The Lombards were a powerful Germanic tribe that ruled much of Italy from the 6th to the 8th century AD. Paul the Deacon, a scribe of the Lombards, tells of a strange story in their history. In their early days, the Lombards were confronted by an overwhelming tribal army, whose numbers greatly surpassed theirs. Their passage was barred. However, the leader of the Lombards thought of a plan. He spread a rumour that amongst his allies were a pack of savage, dog-headed man-beasts that waged unyielding warfare, drank human blood, and cannibalized themselves if they could not reach their enemy. The opposing army, not wanting to confront such an enemy, let the Lombards pass unmolested. With our modern sensibilities, most of us would look back upon these tribal peoples as being foolish for believing such a seemingly obvious lie. Yet, at the time, and for much of human history, the existence of a race of dog-headed men was almost seen as a matter of fact. Various ancient Greek writers wrote of dog-headed men living in the mountains of India and Ethiopia. These canine men, also known as Cynocephali, have been described as hunting for a living and communicating by barking with one another. They speak no language but bark like dogs, and in this manner make themselves understood by each other. Their teeth are larger than those of dogs, their nails like those of these animals, but longer and rounder. They cannot be defeated in war. Saint Augustine suggested that these dog-headed men descended from Adam. Other saints, including Saint Andrew and Saint Bartholomew, have described such creatures as well, whose hound-like appearance disappears after baptism. For several centuries, theologians debated whether such dog-headed men, assuming they were real, had a soul, and thus needed the Gospels taught to them. Several medieval explorers have also claimed to have witnessed these dogmen. Marco Polo reported encountering them on the Andaman Islands, describing them as a cruel race of spice farmers. They have heads like dogs and teeth and eyes likewise. In fact, in the face they are all just like big mastiff dogs. They have a quantity of spices, but they are a most cruel generation and eat everybody that they can catch, if not of their own race. Arguably most peculiar of all is the legend relating to the patron saint of travellers, Saint Christopher. There are many different origin stories relating to Saint Christopher. However, one story places his origins at a battle between the Romans and a savage North African tribe fought around 300 AD. This tribe was renowned for their ferociousness in battle, their cannibalistic tendencies, and, most strange of all, their heads being those of dogs. During the battle which the Romans ultimately won, a giant beast of a man was captured. He had a dog's head and was named Reprobus. Whilst the legend takes many forms from there, all agree that the warrior Reprobus converted to Christianity and took the name Christopher. After being a soldier of Christ for some time, he was martyred in Syria and was eventually sanctified. While this story is undoubtedly odd, the saint's canine head was such a well-known attribute that it inspired religious iconography for centuries. Stories of fearsome Cynocephali can also be found in Eastern sources, with a Buddhist missionary describing an entire island off the west coast of China being filled with a race of dog-headed men. Tales of dog-headed men, then, it seems, were commonplace. Everywhere around the world, people believed that there was indeed a savage, warlike race of men with the heads of dogs, bent on murder and cannibalism. It is possible that many of these tales had their roots in ignorance and prejudice. However, when the enemies of the Lombards heard the rumour of the Cynocephali that day, there was much for them to fear.